everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Shop Adventures, my weekly excursion where I leave the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ in search of my bounty of comics, graphic novels, action figures, collectibles, and all things in between. First things first, time to talk about what's out from last week's pull list. First book really is Event Leviathan. I really enjoyed that book. I like what Bendis is doing with this book. He's slowly finding the voices of other characters, and one character in particular that I really feel that he's found the voice of is Green Arrow. A lot of people who've watched the Arrow TV show think of Green Arrow as this dark, brooding character. And while I do enjoy Arrow and I appreciate that take, and there are especially when you look back at The Longbow Hunters by Mike Grell, Oliver can be dark, but for the most part, Green Arrow is a little bit more. He deals with serious matters, but he's a little bit more lighthearted, very, very more similar to Spider-Man than Batman when it comes to his character. And I feel that Bendis really has that down. It makes sense that he would, because he had one of the greatest runs ever on Ultimate Spider-Man. That was his baby, and he basically reinvented that character. But that's before we go off on a big tangent about how great of a book that was. Yeah, I really enjoy what he's doing with this Event Leviathan book. I'm still skeptical, just because Bendis had me with his Age of Ultron, not the Avengers movie, but the comic miniseries Age of Ultron. He really had me going through most of it, and then it ended with just a resounding thud. So I'm always going to be, ever since then, I've always been skeptical of Bendis, especially with event books, but still, I'm digging it so far. I really enjoyed it. Detective Comics, that might be if I were to rank these picks, that would be number one. I thought it was going to be a Mr. Freeze story, but really it ended up just being Mr. Freeze was just a teaser for the end. The story involves, at least this first part involves, Bruce Wayne getting on a plane and getting ready to conduct some international business with Lucius and the rest of Wayne Enterprises, and then one thing leads to another, but slight spoiler, by the end of the book, Bruce Wayne is marooned and stranded outside of Gotham, and then they tease Mr. Freeze, with what he's up to. Just the cover, you might call it a bait and switch, and I know some people were angry about that, and I get it, but I enjoyed how it seems like Mr. Freeze is planning something really, really big, and Bruce Wayne is not going to be in Gotham to potentially stop this threat. So I'm kind of interested to see where that goes from there. And finally, Hawkman. I've kind of talked about how I thought about cutting it. Everything that they did with the Shade, just this whole story, it was a fun book. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good book. It was one of my top 3 for the week. It's the whole with the Shade, and he has this shadow room, and you have to read it in order to really understand it. I don't like going too in depth in what happened, because I'd rather you bought the book yourself and experienced it rather than me just tell you how great it was. But yeah, this is a very good jumping on point for people who would like to read Hawkman. If you aren't reading it now, go pick up last week's issue, and this would be the spot to start. But yeah, that's what stood out from last week. I will see you when I get back here to the homestead with this week's bounty. Hey everyone, I am back here at the homestead, right here at Athletic Geek HQ. Got quite the bounty this week, so we're going to jump right into it. Starting off in the world of Marvel, we have Daredevil, number 10. And I've really been enjoying this run. I believe this is, I might be mistaken. This is the conclusion of the No Devils Only God story arc. So, gonna see how everything wraps up with Daredevil. Really love Chip Zdarsky's run so far. Been a great run. Reminds me why I love Daredevil, why I love Daredevil comics, why I love that character. Chip Zdarsky's been top notch so far. You heard me sing his praises quite a bit here on the adventure, so yeah, really, really excited about the conclusion of this story arc and the fallout and where this will lead to the continuation of Zdarsky's run with The Man Without Fear. Daredevil number 10. From there we go to Deadpool Annual number 1, and yeah, we'll see. They got a new writing team on this. This is kind of their introduction. So, yep, we'll see how this is. We'll see we'll see where this book goes. It was one of my favorites. Sometimes when a new writing team comes on, I lose interest, and it just doesn't have the same oomph that I once enjoyed. But sometimes a new writing team can keep the book going well, and we're going to find out what happens with old D. Pitty as a new writing team comes in. Deadpool Annual #1. From there we go to Powers of X #3, and I am not going to lie, I'm not feeling this book at all. I don't get it, I don't like it, it's just... It's weird. I don't know how to describe it. There's just like... I feel like, especially with like some of the not comic book stuff they have written in as part of the story, they're trying to be Watchmen, but they're just not good enough to be Watchmen. And I don't mean that the X-Men as characters aren't good enough to be Watchmen-like characters. I mean just this book is not good enough to be the Watchmen. You know, they have all this other stuff, like you're supposed to be reading this computer text and these files on all these characters, you know, to be informed, and my hat's off to them for doing something different. My hat is off to them for doing something that changes the status quo. And comic books do need change every now and again, and they do need different things to happen to them. That's fine. I'm not complaining about that. But it's got to be good. And in my opinion, this has just not been that good. It's not been a good story so far. It's been hard to follow. It's been confusing. It's been just kind of like, okay, why? Oh, all right then. And yeah, I'm not digging it, but I'm reading it out of, much like on the DC side of things with Heroes in Crisis, I'm reading this because I feel like I have to, because I'm an X-Men fan and I want to continue to read X-Men. So there it is. For all my bitching, Marvel wins because they got my fucking money. So there you go. Powers of X #3. And from there we go to the world of DC with Superman Year 1 by Frank Miller. This is Superman Year 1 Book 2, I guess I should say. I like Part 1. I really thought that Frank Miller, and he still might, don't get me wrong, much like with other writers, much as I like him, I always have it, like Bendis, like Mark Waid in this day and age, Frank Miller has been this way for years. As much as I enjoy his writing, I always go into a Frank Miller book with a huge amount of trepidation and a huge amount of concern, like, okay, what's going to happen? And I had a lot of that concern with Book 1. However, it surprised me. I thought Book 1 was actually pretty good, and I thought he didn't change too much about the character. There wasn't a lot of this Frank Miller controversy. Sometimes Frank Miller does controversial stuff just for the sake of going, I'm Frank Miller, and I'm going to do controversial shit. I didn't get a whole lot of that with Superman Year 1, or at least the Book 1. So hopefully that continues. Not saying that Frank Miller can't put his own spin on Superman, but sometimes Frank goes too far. And it makes me kind of turned off. Like in the case with All-Star Superman and The Dark Knight Strikes Again, kind of went a little too far and kind of trying to put his weird, controversial, dark spin on things. And it just, to me, made the story lack. So far, so good. And I don't mind the story getting a little dark. But, kind of there's an edge, and you can teeter on it, and you can throw a rock down there, and you can kind of stick your foot off the side, but don't go over it. At least Frank goes over it too much. But, nonetheless, once again, they got my money for at least one more issue, so here you go. Superman, Year 1, Book 2. And keeping on the same line as Superman, we got Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, #2. I enjoy Matt Fraction, and the first book was good, not great. It wasn't on Fraction's like Hawkeye level, at least not with issue 1, but it's still a good book, and it reminds me why I am a Matt Fraction fan, why I enjoy his writing. And, if he keeps it up, I'm going to be here for all 12 issues, and if it continues to be a fun series like it is, with telling a story of the now overlooked Superman friend and part of the Superman family, and it has a cool Silver Age vibe to it, which is something else I really like. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, number 2. From there we go to Batman number 77, The City of Bane and the Year of the Villains continues. And this is the book that had everybody buzzing at the shop today, and they kind of kept hush-hush, and they didn't spoil it for me. So, yeah, we will see what the big ending of this book is. And, I mean, by the time this video goes up, I'm sure everybody will know, because they said it's something that's going to gain worldwide press. So this will definitely be the first book that I read, so that way I don't get accidentally spoiled on Facebook or any of the comic book forums or anything. Just casually talking to anybody. So yeah, Batman number 77. And final comic book on the bounty this week is Nightwing number 63, part of the Year of the Villain. The Court of the Owls and Talon are harassing Nightwing, and I'm not just skimming through it anymore, but it's still not my favorite interpretation. It is Nightwing again. It's not a bunch of different people trying to be Nightwing, so there's that. But yeah, you know, a little bit better than the previous Jurgens work that he's that he has done on this book. But you know, I kind of not the world's biggest fan of Dan Jurgens. I've liked some of his stories, and I respect him as a writer, but you know, just maybe his work doesn't always jive with me. And so far on Nightwing, it hasn't. But this is probably, it's getting better. It's given me that much optimism, so why not? Nightwing number 63. Now we come to a portion of this here show that hasn't really been explored in quite some time. I have some Marvel Legends I was able to pick up. First one I got this awesome Weapon X Marvel Legends figure. Really, really cool, and decided why not. I haven't bought one of these in a long time, and I ended up buying 3, but that's besides the point. Yeah, really, really cool figure. I don't have this. I have 2 versions of Wolverine already over on my X-Men portion of my Marvel Legends collection. I have an Old Man Logan, like a more, I don't want to say generic, but just what you think of when you think Wolverine, with the yellow and the mask and everything. And you know, one more version of Wolverine to add to my collection. So yeah, Marvel Legends Weapon X looks really cool, and it'll be joining the others on the shelf. And something else that'll be joining the others on the shelf is this Marvel Legends Nightcrawler that I found, and have not been able to find a Nightcrawler anywhere since I kind of got into collecting the Marvel Legends figures. And if they were available, they were an older one that the price was through the roof on. So yeah, definitely happy I could find one at a reasonable price, and that will also be going over there on my shelf with the rest of my Marvel Legends. So yeah, pretty neat looking figure. It's got the sword. It's got 2 different hands, one for sword and one for just posing, and it's got 3 different heads, which I think is really cool. Yeah, Nightcrawler is one of my favorite X-Men characters, and I'm glad to finally have a figure for Kurt Wagner, the Amazing Nightcrawler. And finally, the final Marvel Legends of this bounty. I overdid it this week. I have this Gambit figure, and I already have one of these. This is why I know I overdid it. I could not find one anywhere when this line first came out, so I bit the bullet and bought on eBay. I found a loose one that they sold me at significantly reduced price than what the other Gambit figures in the box were going for at the time on eBay. So me, out of fear of missing out on a character that I'm a super huge fan of, and up there with Rogue. And now I don't want to say it's my favorite Marvel character, but he's, you know, because I love all the X-Men, but he's definitely one that I have a lot of connection with. I went ahead and bit the bullet and bought the loose figure, and it's over there on the shelf as well. But I saw one of these, and you know, they were They were selling it at the normal price for all the other Marvel Legends in the store, and I thought, you know what, I'm a big enough Gambit fan that I'd like to have one that stays in the package, and I'll keep this one mint in box, and I'll hang it up with probably some of the rest of the Gambit stuff I have on the wall on this side. The side you never see here on the comic shop adventure, but yeah, I have the perfect spot for it, and it's going up there, yeah. But happy to have one loose and displayed with the Rogue figure that I bought, but also cool to have another really cool one to keep in the box and not take out. So yeah, Gambit Marvel Legends figure. And that is it for my bounty this week. Let me know what you picked up at your local comic shop in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and like to see others like it, please subscribe. Please share this video if you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And go like the Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89 for more content. There you will find my collection comic of the week that is exclusive to my Facebook page. But other than that, I'm out. Y'all be cool. Later.